ladies and gentlemen, once again to the Nemesis Online Racing League. Here at the lovely Bahrain circuit, we're just getting set up, as you can probably tell. You just bear with us. We seem to have no game sound. That's very interesting. There we go. We're all better in terms of the game sound. Now we're just going to make sure we have the chat up to talk to you lovely people in the stream. So while we're still going around, let's remind ourselves of what happened last time out in this series. Last time out, it was Nibbler that won in a massively dominating fashion, as expected. The home favourite came through, and of course he delivered. So that's the way that one went. We had Chazza come home in P3 after colliding with his teammate. It doesn't look like these two are going to collide again. It looks like them two might be a bit more on the same page here. We had impressive debuts from the likes of Danny Ibn Lahar. We had Testameister, had a good start until this crash. They've limited Danny and Dougie Afroman. Same goes for Beamer Black. So I've got some guys that wasn't here in round one, and those include Ragnar, and just checking to see if there's anyone else I've missed. But that's pretty much it. Ragnar wasn't here last weekend, but I believe he is here this time. We might have a new recruit joining the series, but not for a while. So here are your qualifying times on the one shot, predictably. It looks like Nibbler's going to take pole position by quite some margin. But Ragnar up in P2, which is a good result for the Italian. Limited Danny, as you can see, comes home in P6. Guys, I'll have to forgive my voice a little bit. I'm a little exhausted, running on 3 hours sleep. Just had a quick power nap before the stream to get ready for this. So here we go. King Macca in the chat says, let's go, boys. Yeah, Macca left to let us know who you're supporting tonight. Yeah, so Nibbler takes pole position with a 127.3. That's almost half a second quicker than Ragnar. Chazza lines up in P3 once again, and then it's an all-Italian affair for 4th and 5th. Limited Danny in 6th. Nemesis Racing 7th. Dougie Afroman will start 8th. Murcielago 9th, which is quite an interesting qualifying. It's quite low down the order. And then Subaru will round out the top 10. Should be a very interesting race. In the chat we have Danny G that says, shout out to Lord Jord UK, watching him at his house and watching the stream. It'll be a very interesting way. You'll get to see all the action happening on track as well as watching him. You'll be like Nico Rosberg's father, Keke, when he watched him win the world title at Abu Dhabi. He had up Rosberg's onboard cameras as well as the broadcast on a whole triple screen setup, so you'll get to see a bit of everything, but we're just waiting for everyone to load in and sink into the lobby, and then we can get underway for round number 2 of the Nemesis Online Racing League F1 2018 Championship. All the connection issues we had in week number 1 have been squared away, and we should be good to go to the finish, so fingers crossed on that one. Excuse me, just clearing my throat, and then we're good to go. So here we go then. The guys will go out on their formation lap and go around and get on their grid positions. Meanwhile, while that happens, we are going to get ourselves buckled up and get comfortable and get ready for the race ahead by showing you the likes of the gaps, the intervals, and all that stuff. Get all that stuff ready to rumble. And I believe both Renaults have been disqualified from the formation lap already. An interesting start for them guys. Ragnar will separate the two Ferraris. Will he be able to do anything about Nibbler off the first lap? That'll be very interesting. King Mac is here to support his boys, Dougie Afroman and Galactic Skull 2. Very much a Team Sauber supporter in the form of Macca then. And he'll be hoping that Dougie Afroman can improve on his grid position of P8. That's a good qualifying for the rookie. His first time ever at Bahrain in the NORL. Galactic Skull 2 looks like he's had a tricky qualifying and he lines up in last, but I'm pretty sure that isn't representative of Galactic Skull 2's actual pace. I think he made a mistake out on his lap, so he'll be one to make positions, I'm sure. Excuse me. I tried to reach for the mute button there just in time, but I couldn't quite reach it before the sniff came. Oh, my bad. Oh, dear. So we had the real life F1 today at a glorious 6 in the morning, where Lewis Hamilton dominated the Japanese Grand Prix, the Grand Slam. Will we see another Grand Slam from Nibbler today, much like the form of last week? He'll want to do it a bit easier next time because he got a penalty last time and he had to find 5 seconds during that race to keep the win, which he did quite easily, but I'm sure he'd like it a bit easier this time around, and I'm sure he'd love to not collide with his teammate. So just looking through everyone's tyres, let's see, while everyone's pulling up, we've got everyone pretty much in the top 10 on the super softs, and then you've got Lord George on the softs is the first person not on the super softs, and then you've got Anatanovic starting on the mediums. Watch out for him. He's not going to have a lot of grip. For the first few laps, he's going to be a sitting duck, but he's going to be able to go so much longer than the other guys into the first stint. Kevin Jacobs and Galactic Skull 2 look like they're going to go on a soft strategy as well, but Beamer Black is going to be racy coming up from the back of the grid. So let's get ready to go racing in the lights of the desert night. Getting ready to go racing. Here we go. All the lights are out and away we go. And who got the best start of the top 3? There's a Red Bull in the background getting a very good start. Subaru Ryan getting a right start as Ragnar takes P2 away from Chazza, but now Chazza coming back around the outside. Does Ragnar have it? I think he does. There's a Renault making an awesome start. Danny's up into P3 as well. Chazza will have to fight that one back. He already goes side by side and he's made contact with the Renault. The Renault's gone, but he's managed to hold on to it. Good save by Danny. There's definite contact between himself and Chazza there on the very first lap. We have Limited Danny up in P3. That's another amazing start, but Ryan has gone from P9 to P4. What an amazing start from the Red Bull driver. You can see Testo Meister and Dougie Anderson already getting into it. The Renault making a dive bomb up the inside. That's another fantastic start from Kevin Jacobs, making 8 positions on the opening lap. An absolute crazy scale of affairs then, as everyone else in the top 3 looks a bit wide. We have a wide car going wide. That is Ragnar. No, it is not. It is Limited Danny under pressure from Subaru Ryan. Subaru Ryan now up on the podium, and now he has to deal with the likes of Chazza in the Ferrari behind. Chazza doing a very good job pressurizing him. Dougie Aframan pressurizing him, and Kevin Jacobs will round off that train just a little bit as we come around the next snaking section of corners. It's been an abysmal start if you're a Murcielago fan here today. Look how close Chazza is to the back of Limited Danny coming into the final corner. I don't think he's going to have anywhere to go with it though. Speaking of going places, Kevin Jacobs under pressure from Dougie Aframan going into the final corner. We've got cars darting all over the place. There was contact. The Mercedes hit the back of Kevin Jacobs and has lost a bit of front wing. That's forced Dougie Anderson over the curves. We've got a car spun around in the background, and Galactic Skull 2 has gone for a spin on this opening lap. It's a McLaren sandwich of your Nemesis Racing coming down the start-finish straight. It looks like Dougie Aframan tempted to go for a move down the inside. He will go of Danny into turn 1. Good move by the Scotsman, but now he'll have to do all the work again because Danny's got the favourable line on the outside and will be able to just drive right past him. It's going to be a drag race up into the middle sector then for Dougie Aframan versus Danny. Danny has the inside line, but if Dougie can hold it around the outside, he'll have the inside line for the next section of corners. But no, the Renault squeezes him out, leaves him just enough room and no more, and gets the job done. Meanwhile, Limited Danny has found pace and is attacking Subaru Ryan almost free abreast as we come into the downhill hairpin. They're going to sort themselves out before they get to this hairpin because you cannot go more than 2 wide. You can barely go 1 wide through there. They all get through. They all decide to go. Oh, that is a car. I think I just saw a car going massively wide. I did. It's Subaru Ryan who tries to rejoin the track but gets bumped off by Limited Danny, who doesn't see him there, and it's almost free abreast going into the next corner. Testo Meister on the inside, but now Limited Danny in the background. Subaru Ryan over the curbs again, so is Testo Meister. These guys really exploring the track limits. This is fantastic news, by the way, if you're an Australian, because Nibbler's just driving away. Look at Testo Meister just darting across the track, almost putting Subaru STI Ryan in the wall. Gets away with it for another day. You can now see Kevin Jacobs will have a good run on Limited Danny. It's going to look like he's going to try to it at the final corner, but if he's wise, he'll back out and focus on getting a better exit and try and get a good run. And he actually scared Danny Ibhan La there. Danny got a little bit frightened, broke really early, as now Testo Meister will go side by side with the Red Bull into turn 1, and Limited Danny's getting a good double slipstream off the both of them. Doesn't dare try to go for a double overtake though, as Testo Meister takes the inside line, takes the position of Subaru Ryan. P4 for Testo Meister. Kevin Jacobs is up very high at the moment. He's doing a very good job. Look at Limited Danny squeezing all over the track. These guys are darting everywhere, just using all the track that's available to them and some more. Danny Ibrahim Laha has got right back in on this fight, though, and he is going to definitely be a little bit of a match that otherwise sets this petrol fire on, reheats it and gets it going once again, because now you can see Danny looking to the inside of Kevin Jacobs. That's not a favourable corner. Limited Danny had a little bit of an issue there and got away. We have a yellow flag in sector 3. Dougie Aframan's in the pits. Oh no, he's had an accident somewhere. That means both Saubers are last and second to last, but he's had to pit for a new front wing. Is that someone else has gone? Murcielago has gone round, has he? No, it's Subaru SREI Ryan after such a good start. He's been spun around. Oh, I'll have to drive all the way back up to where he was. Now we can see Beamer Black under pressure from the sister Red Bull of Murcielago and Anoltanovic on their medium tyres, trying to make an impression early on. Will go down the inside, very almost hits Murcielago, just gets away with it. Good effort from the McLaren, but now the Subaru Ryan is down in 12th. Murcielago will try fight it back, but it is pretty much game over at this point. And the Renault goes super wide though. The battling is insane up for 6th, 7th and 8th. As we look like we've got a Renault of Danny coming into the pits. The rest will continue on for some more madness. Nemesis Racing's got DRS on his teammate. And is there going to be a bit of synchronized swimming of the Hasses here? Let Nemesis go. Maybe he's got the inside line. I'm not sure. There's a lot of contact. And around we go for another lap. Absolutely crazy stuff going on here on the opening laps. Danny Ibrahim Laha in the pits, of course, having a good time. And you can now see that Anoltanovic is closing in on his teammate, looking for a way by. He's going to try to do it all the way around the outside. Maybe tried to get a switch to the inside, but the medium tyre just not offering any front end grip. We've got a yellow flag in sector 1, and Kevin Jacobs has gone for a spin and looks like he's lost the better half, if not all of his front wing. So that's going to be a pit stop, and that's Kevin Jacobs taken out of contention. Nemesis Racing down to 6th. He's obviously lost the position to the Renault and the Toro Rosso somewhere earlier on. I wonder if the Hasses have come together. If they haven't, they have now, because he takes out Limited Danny. Limited Danny goes around and gets spun into the path of the McLaren of Beamer Black, and now Beamer Black will take damage from no fault of his own. It's been an absolute nightmare for the Haas boys, because they just took out Limited Danny, and Limited Danny was not in control whatsoever. And now Beamer Black goes off the circuit as Limited Danny outbrakes himself and forces him off the track. What a crazy 5 laps it's been for the opening stages. You can now see Anoltanovic, Nemesis Racing. These two had a ding-dong battle last time out in Australia. And he's about to do it again. Nemesis will pit though. Nemesis will pit. Testermeister picks up a 5-second stop-go penalty, as did Lord George. If you missed that earlier in the race for speeding in the pit lane, Limited Danny's going to pick up a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane as well. So this is good news for the other guys that have pitted for damage and haven't got penalties. It's going to help them in their pursuit, just like Galactic Skull 2 is chasing down the likes of Lord Jod. I'm sorry. We've got yellow flags in sectors 2 and 3, and that's because Dougie Aframan has gone for a spin. The rookie making a mistake here on the opening stages after his pit stop. We're going to change this to tyre so you can see what everyone's on. The top 3 then still leading yet to pit on them super soft tyres. You know, Anoltanovic on a very good position on the mediums. He could quite easily go very long into the race. Do not count Anoltanovic out just yet. He is still there, but not if he keeps making mistakes like that. It's got to be careful. Nemesis Racing and Testermeister on their outlaps on them soft tyres, and here you can see a battle beginning to form with the Scotsman and Murcielago and Galactic Skull 2. Around the infield section they'll go. Of course, the Red Bull has got soft compound tyres on, and the Sauber has medium tyres on. Sauber's got to be careful, doesn't want to make any mistakes. He doesn't have a lot of grip. Patience pays in dividends, because Beamer Black's actually very close to the back of Limited Danny. Should have DRS going for this sector. He does. And look how defensive Limited Danny goes to the inside. He might be able to late brake and just try drive clean around the outside. If he can pull this off, this is going to be a spectacular move. Good move from Beamer Black so far. Just got to hold it and close the door off. Job is a good one. Will Danny come back up the inside? No, he will not. Great move from Beamer Black, just using the extra grip of the Supersoft to just drive clean around the outside of Limited Danny like he wasn't even there. Great move by Beamer Black. Very impressive stuff indeed. Look at that from a long way back. Limited Danny just sends it. Beamer Black saw him, gave him enough room And now we'll continue the fight. Down the back straight they go. Limited Danny has DRS re-ride on board. He looks at the outside line, which is the optimal racing line. Beamer Black defended too early there, and he's not really had to do any work. He could try just go around the outside, but now Beamer Black can late break. But now, of course, Limited Danny will get the switchback. And he tries to get the switchback, but Beamer Black that time placed his car perfectly on the apex and gave Limited Danny nowhere to go and defended his position well on that occasion. Now we can see Murcielago has pulled away from Galactic Skull 2 a little bit and is now chasing down Lord Jord through the middle sector on the soft compound tyre. Lord Jord on the medium compound makes a lock-up and goes wide, and that's going to allow Murcielago to sliver on through. Now Galactic Skull 2 will be interested in that action, I'm sure. Lord Jord gets underway though and is able to continue moving. Another lock-up going into the downwards hairpin will force him to go a little bit wide. All of this is great news if you're a Sauber fan. The Sauber can just see the Mercedes making mistakes in front of him as his tyres begin to fall away. Only 7 temps to Murcielago, only 8 temps back to Galactic Skull 2. This is a close battle pack as they follow each other through. Everyone's around their pit stop phase right now. All of them going super wide. They've got to be careful at that corner. It's very easy to pick up a penalty. We can see Limited Danny got a decent run in the background on Beamer Black, but I don't think it will be enough to challenge into the final corner. Of course, Galactic Skull 2 and Lord Jord all both on the medium compound tyres, so these guys are completely equal, both being on these for a similar number of laps. Lord Jord's tyres are 1 lap younger. Remember, Lord Jord pitted on the first lap for what I assume was damage. And now they're both on very slippery mediums. The mediums have a lot of tyre life, but they don't have a lot of grip. That is the trade-off, of course. But it looks like the Sauber is pressuring. Coming from a long way back, looking to the inside, but he just can't get the rear end in check. We'll go on the throttle once again through the S-bend section they come. Steady, steady. The rear end slipping out from the Sauber. In that turbulent air, we have Ragnar in the pits. The first of the leaders has come into the pits then, and it's Ragnar who bites first. In the Toro Rosso, the Ferraris remain out, currently 1 and 2 after Ragnar pits, the man who was separating them. Will we see Niblo or Chazza pit on the next lap? I would assume Niblo would pit. He would have preference for being the lead Ferrari, but they need to respond to Ragnar pitting. Ragnar has the pace to do an undercut here. And the Ferraris need to respond. They can't just do whatever they want like they did in Australia. They've got someone right up in the mix with them in this pit stop phase. Galactic Skull 2 then. Awesome run out of the final corner. Will now get a drag up into the last corner with a little bit of tour, and I'm assuming overtaking Rich Rez. You can see that little blue bar on his dashboard is how much energy he used there, and he was definitely in a very strong overtaking mode and just breezed past the Mercedes like it was a sitting duck. Galactic Skull 2 up into P9. Lord Jord trying to come back on the outside though. Had DRS assistance make a bit of a lock-up, tries to go for the switchback, but Galactic Skull 2 parks his car perfectly, and there's nowhere for Lord Jord to put that car to complete the switchback. So Galactic Skull 2 makes the move and then perfectly defends it. That's how you get a move done. He just needs to drive away now from the Mercedes, and that will be P9 for McAllister, aka Galactic Skull 2. Limited Danny is still hunting down Beamer Black after being spun around by Nemesis Racing. I'm sure the stewards will be taking a look into that as Nibbler has now come into the pits. We'll see how the pit stop goes for Ferrari. Any hiccups? No, it's a pretty clean stop, but crucially, he's come out on the medium tyres. Ragnar went on the soft. Ragnar went for a pace advantage or a durability. Will Ragnar be able to take those tyres to the end? 20 laps on the soft compound tyre will be interesting. Nibbler leads the pit lane now. It won't be that close, but it's closer than it was. Nibbler definitely lost time on that in-lap. So I think it's safe to say Ragnar will definitely keep his position from Chazza. An overcut shouldn't be possible from Chazza. Chazza will slot into third at the very best. As we now have Testomeister coming into the pits for Renault. Limited Danny's within half a second and Beamer Black. Will he be able to do anything on this straight? Has he saved up his battery? It doesn't look like it. Looks like he's got about a quarter of a battery left. He should have been saving on this lap for an attack. Nevertheless, Rich Rez and DRS are just as effective. Look at that. Beamer Black moves over, but the job's already done. The Honda engine blasting past the McLaren, and the McLaren comes back very late. bangs into the side pod. That could have been a lot worse than it was. Gets away with that one. That was a bit silly to try come back. Desperation for Beamer Black, but it's game over. Loses the position to Limited Danny, and he has to wait for a better opportunity than that if he wants to come back. Locks up the inside front, and away they go. See, Ragnar's now within half a second of Nibbler. Ragnar really putting on a lot of pressure on the Australian. This is effectively for your race lead. Once you factor in Chazza pitting, which Chazza is opting to stay out. Which one of these has made the right strategy call? Can the soft tyres make 20 laps? We haven't seen anyone hint at a 20-lap stint from the softs yet. Ragnar does set the fastest lap of the race. DRS, Rich Revs overtaking Mo Jobs. A good one up the inside, down the inside. If he could squeeze Nibbler out. Nibbler's still holding that on the inside though, making sure Ragnar knows he's still there and still not giving up that fight. Race lead almost switch hands there, but the Australian was having none of it with a classic Australian Daniel Ricciardo fighting spirit. Fights off the Italian to live another day. But the soft compound tyres are just so much faster than the medium compound. Which means Ragnar is a lot faster right now, but we're not sure that he can go to the end. I think what it is it's a case of Ragnar is on a two-stop strategy. Nibbler's on a one-stop. So Ragnar needs to get past Nibbler ASAP and try use the best of these tyres to get away and make that extra pit stop, if he wants this strategy to work, of course. DRS wide open for Ragnar. Not going to be able to do it on this time. He needs to save up his battery. You can see we can compare energy levels between the Ferrari and the Toro Rosso. There's about a quarter, just over a quarter, I would say, battery level in that Toro Rosso, and there's a lot more in the Ferrari. The Ferrari has saved a lot of battery, and he will use that for his defense. Chazza now comes into the pits. And Chazza opts for soft compound tyres as well. So it's only Nibbler going for the mediums right now. Chazza will have to do quite some driving to catch up to this battle, but he's definitely back to Ragnar inside. Got to get the move done this time. Surely he's got to block Nibbler Watt from being able to keep his nose in, and he does. The lead changes hands, and Ragnar 184 takes the lead of the Bahrain Grand Prix on lap 11, but we believe he still has to make another stop. Nibbler will try his best to stay with him and do whatever he can, because it looks to me like Nibbler's on a one-stop and Ragnar is on a two-stop. I don't honestly see these soft compound tyres doing 20 laps. We had something similar like this in Australia. Chazza tried to take the super soft tyres way longer than they could go and ended up with a puncture on the final lap. It's a very interesting. Nibbler still keeping in touch with Ragnar on the medium compound tyres. It's a good job by the Australian, considering how much slower they are, but obviously he saved up all that battery, so he's just going to be like a rocket ship in the straight lines, and you can see he's using the straight lines to make up for the lack of grip he has in the corners, and he uses the battery to get good exits out of the corner and really pressure Ragnar. Ragnar goes a little bit wide, makes a mistake, and now Nibbler will get the slipstream all the way down to the final corner. Heavy on the brakes. Looks to the inside line. Ragnar's made a mistake and gone off all by himself. An unforced error from Ragnar. Nibbler will easily take the lead back with DRS assistance and a bit of that battery. Ragnar's going to try getting the sleigh. A bit of lag there. That could have been an airplane crash. Oh my goodness. I hope that was just lag on our screen, because if that was on Ragnar, new underwear will need to be sent to Italy for the Toro Rosso boy. Yikes, that was scary. The Dougie Afroman has just been overtaken by Tester Meister. Dougie Afroman on 8-lap-old soft compound tyres. His strategy is pretty much out the window at this point. In a horror show for the Alfa Romeo driver. Dougie actually... Oh, Tester Meister's gone around. Oh dear. What's happened there? Did they make contact, or was that Tester Meister dropping it all by himself? I am not sure, but around he goes, into the wall, no front wing, good night, sir. Second DRS zone then, and Nibbler's starting to pull away a bit. Quite a few mistakes coming in the form of Ragnar. The pressure just got under him. Forced an error into the last corner and made it very easy. And I think it's Ragnar suffering a little bit of lag, latency issues. Because Nibbler looks fine. Ragnar's kind of popping around all over the place right now. Ksiana Viltanovic is the only one left to stop Testameister Pits again. Nightmarish stuff for him. And it is Ragnar with a little bit of a lag bubble. That will be a little bit distracting for the Toro Rosso because it's making it very hard to judge what Nibbler actually is. He goes for a Daniel Ricciardo type send, but Nibbler just bounces back ahead. Chazza, meanwhile, sets the fastest lap of the Grand Prix on them soft compound tyres, trying to catch up to this battle. Oh, Testameister. What a nightmare you are having today, my friend. Around he goes once again. Fresh out the pits. Cold tyres, got on the accelerator too early. And around he goes. Meanwhile, the battle between Galactic Skull 2 and Murcielago resumes. Meanwhile, a better battle of Subaru Ryan and Lord Jord going side by side into the final chicane. The final corner, sorry, not chicane. Jobs are good for Subaru Ryan, but now the Mercedes will be able to come back. Who has the DRS assistance? It looks like it's the Mercedes. Mercedes pulls to the inside line as they go side by side down the front straight going into turn one. That was very close as Ryan does a very risky but very well executed switch back to the inside. Gets the job done, turns the defense into an overtake. Good stuff. Very close to losing his front wing by doing that, though. That was a bit scary. Well, Job will try stay to the back, but I think Subaru Ryan has won this battle for now. Soft compound tyre versus medium. It's a case of grip versus durability once again, but right now the soft compound tyre is the better tyre until it dies off, of course. So Galactic Skull 2 within half a second of Murcielago, the other Red Bull. Kind of in a Red Bull sandwich with a Toro Rosso behind him. And then a Red Bull behind the Toro Rosso, so a Red Bull sandwich with some Toro Rosso filling for Galactic Skull 2. As he pushes on to try past Murcielago for P7, back end getting away from him just a little bit. Scary stuff. Almost had a huge accident. Gets away with it, holds on to it. Pushing hard, Galactic Skull 2 out the final corner. A bit too far back, we've got yellow flags in sector 3. I really hit up, it's not, it's Dougie Afra, man. I thought it could be Testameister, but Dougie made this mistake earlier on and he's made it again. This time it's cost him dearly with no front wing. All but game over for Dougie Afra, man. That brings him back into Testameister's reach at least. We'll see a battle between those two. Galactic Skull 2 getting a good run through the first two corners. Is he going to send it? Thought about it. Didn't have the confidence in the braking. Murcielago hit the curb a bit hard there. Drifted a bit wide. That brought Colin McAllister into view. Through the S-bends they come. And through this corner and then the run to the downhill hairpin. Such a tricky corner, especially if you're right behind someone. Meanwhile, Lord Jord is starting to come back at Subaru Ryan, especially if Subaru Ryan keeps making lockups like that. Lord Jord pushing on, looking for a way by anywhere he can find one as Subaru Ryan locks up again, but Lord Jord locks up the rear tyres and gets a horrible exit off the corner. No traction there for him whatsoever. Galactic Skull 2 still chasing down Murcielago. Just looking for any mistake from the Red Bull. He'll get a nice slipstream into the final corner, and if he can get a good exit, he'll have a very strong opportunity going into turn one. It was not a very good final corner for the Sauber. That's going to help the Red Bull pull a bit of a gap. He has DRS though. We'll see how much that closes for him. Closes a lot. But if he just got a slightly better exit, well, not even slightly, he needed quite a bit better exit. And he would have had him into going into turn one, but unfortunately does not. Lord Jord, meanwhile, has sent it up the inside of Subaru Ryan. Subaru comes back at him there, just so much more grip. Just drives around him like he's a mobile chicane. That was almost so easy for the Red Bull, with so much more grip. It was like watching an LMP1 versus a GT car. Just drove clean around him. And that is a great example of the soft tyre versus the medium tyre. That's how much more grip the soft has, but it doesn't prevent you from making mistakes. It does not make you invincible. As Subaru Ryan locks up and loses the position to Lord Jord, now Subaru Ryan focuses on getting a better run because Lord Jord is now Lord Jord's time to make a mistake and goes back behind Ryan, but we'll use the slipstream to try have another go. Ryan was behind at the DRS detection point now, meaning he gets DRS to help him, but now he makes a lockup as well, which is going to allow Lord Jord to come back at him. It's the battle of mistakes going on here at the desert lights. It's the lights in your eyes, boys. A lot of lockups going on, bringing these guys into battle with each other every time, and Lord Jord just loses the rear end a little bit, and that's going to prevent a challenge into the final corner. It'll help you can get closer off the final corner and make a challenge into turn 1 as we have Murcielago and Nemesis Racing bitten. Limited Danny picks up another 5-second stop-go penalty for speeding in the pit lane. Murcielago serving a 5-second stop-go penalty, it looks like. And we can see, will Nemesis Racing get out ahead of his teammate? Yes, he will, quite easily. Nemesis Racing will join the back of the Lord Jord and Subaru Ryan battle, as we have the Toro Rosso and Red Bull very close to each other. So a lot of guys opting for the 2-stop strategy. Nibbler still opting for that 1-stop. Ragnar's just not being able to put the pressure on right now. It's Lord Jord still pressuring Subaru Ryan. Very interesting. Little battle going on between these guys. Medium again versus soft. We're going to see a big lockup for Ryan as he goes off the track once again. 13 laps old. These medium compound tyres for Lord Jord. 12 laps old for Ryan. Ryan's tyres are past their use-by date. So basically now the tyre has shifted. Now Lord Jord at this stage in the race has the better tyres because the soft has more grip. But you use it more quickly! Wow, that was super close. You could fit a cigarette paper between the two cars there. That could have almost been a huge accident. But it wasn't. Both these guys got away with it, and now a move from Ryan into the final corner. Thought about it, doesn't get away with it. Kind of scares Lord Jord off the road just a little bit. That's what he wanted, to get the run. And with a bit of DRS assistance going up to turn 1 on the inside. Who's running more downforce? Neither. Default setups. Oh, so it's all about drivability. Was there contact there? It looks like there was. Battle rage is on between Mercedes and Red Bull. Mercedes looking to the outside of the Red Bull. Red Bull on the inside. Gonna have to go the long way around if you want to do it, but it'll go for a switchback maneuver. But the racing line favoured Subaru Ryan. And Ryan holds on for another day. To come through the S-bends, Lord Jord looking, trying to sense any kind of weakness he can from that Red Bull. The Red Bull is due a pit stop. I'm not sure if Lord Jord will be able to make it to the end. Wow! That's not a move I was expecting. I don't think that was a move anyone was expecting. That was so... What happened there? Subaru Ryan just stopped mid-corner. Is that really how little grip Subaru Ryan has right now? You can see Nemesis Racing will be faster than all these guys. He's on brand new mediums. He's got bags of grip compared to these guys. And he should be able to pass them easily if he can do it without getting caught up in the chaos. But I reckon we might be about to see if... Wow! Ryan from a long way back! Straight to the side of the Mercedes. Nemesis trying to seek away, but Ryan wants to pit. He has to brake and let Nemesis go to pit. This is crazy. That's xxkillshotzxx in the pits. Jesus. That was an insane set of circumstances. Ryan wanted to pit, but Nemesis was on the inside trying to make the move. That was wild. Meanwhile, Chazza has located and tracked down Ragnar and has now got the mission to make it a Ferrari 1-2 as he locks up into the final corner. 3 laps younger, these soft tyres for Chazza. Chazza very good at managing his tyre wear. Definitely better than Ragnar. You can see Ragnar's lag bubble, as it's known in the sim racing world. When your connection's not great, you get a lag bubble. And when you're in that bubble, So basically, the best way to explain it, when you've got a poor connection like Ragnar, you can see his poor connection bar next to his driver name. You form like a bubble around you, and you, at any point when your connection is struggling, you can pop to somewhere inside that bubble. So imagine like an imaginary circle following your car. You can pop anywhere in that circle. Some games do it differently. Some games blink and you will disappear while your connection drops like that. This game does not. This game warps you to somewhere in that imaginary circle, which means it's all the scarier for Chazza, because Chazza's just got to guess when he's going to pop somewhere. That's why he's not right behind him. See? Suddenly up the road. Lord Jordan and Kevin Jacobs having a little bit of a battle going into turn one. Kevin Jacobs getting the move done on Lord Jordan. Well, not much younger actually. Only 2 lap younger medium tyres. Good move by the American for P7. And through he goes. Lord Jord looking for any kind of excuse to get back at him. We're out on board with a Mercedes. Looking to the outside. Going to be able to do it. Doesn't outbrake the Haas. Tries to switch back maneuver once more. This time it goes a bit better, but the rear end is just not interested at this stage in the race. Through the S-bends they go. And through to the middle sector, they will go for another lap. Meanwhile, Ragnar's only half a second behind. Chaz has finally got the move done. Up into P2 for the Ferrari. And it's a Ferrari 1-2 now. Interestingly, will Nibbler go to the end? I'm really not sure. I don't know. We'll keep an eye on the top 3. I'm still not sure what's going to happen. Look at this titan of a battle we've got going on between Kevin and Lord Jord, meanwhile. Definitely providing us with the battles tonight. Lord Jord just fighting about everyone. 19 laps on the medium tyres for Anel Tanovic. That's one hell of a shift. As he pits for the super soft tyres. He's going to be fast in the last stage of the race. Watch out for him. Limited Danny's on a similar strategy, but his tyres are probably going to be past their best buy date once it gets to the closing stages of the race. Lord George just doesn't have the tyres to keep with Kevin Jacobs anymore. Fastest lap goes to Galactic Skull 2 on them soft compound tyres. Kevin Jacobs battling with Anel Tanovic through turn 1 as Anel Tanovic leads. Well, look at the grip from them super softs. Just drives clean around his outside. We've seen it many times with the soft compound, never with a super soft though. The super soft has about 5 times more grip than the soft, but of course wears about 5 times quicker. Good move by Anel Tanovic. It's been a good stint. I want to see how many positions he's gained. He's gained 6 positions. That's been a good effort. Great effort from Anel Tanovic on that medium compound strategy. Good job. And he should easily drive away from Kevin Jacobs with those tyres. Danny by the way on the medium tyres on a similar strategy to Nibbler. This is interesting because Nibbler's on a similar strategy. Has decided he can't make it to the end and he's just going to go for it and put some supers on. Will Nibbler do something the same? Because his advantage Chazza if he does. Or will he just try and nurse it out? It all depends on how much pressure Chazza can put on his teammate, I think, at this stage. Tester Meister half a second behind Beamer Black for the back of the pack. It's a shame for Tester. He's made a lot of mistakes today. But he's really had the pace. Clawed his way back to the field and is now overtaking the field once again after making 2 simultaneous spins. Kevin Jacobs and Lord Job both pit. The medium runner's starting to run out of tyre. It looks like the peak of the tyres is about, I would say, 15 laps on the medium. And then you really lose performance. Oh, a penalty being served by Lord Jordan. I'm assuming that's for speeding in the pit lane earlier on. I don't think Dougie Afroman will challenge. He shouldn't do anyway. Might be a bit close. Here's the exit line. Where's Dougie? Oh no, he might do. Dougie Afroman gets him. Dougie Afroman is past Lord Jord. Dougie could go to the end on those tyres easily, and I think that's the plan. So Lord Jord is going to be all over him like a rash. Meanwhile, Ragnar has pitted again. So he did pit for them soft tyres too early. Will that inspire Chazza to pit to assault Nibbler? Or are they just going to try and run 1 and 2 to the end? I'm not sure Chazza isn't making any ground on Nibbler. Testermeister, 0.5 behind Lord Jod, by the way. Lord Jod, brand new sauce. Testermeister, 9-lap old. It says 9-lap old soft, but it's quite clearly on the super softs. So I'm not sure this can be entirely trusted, the tyre map. So keep that in mind. We'll see if he's able to do anything. Just keeping an eye on just trying to keep an eye on the Chazza to Nibbler gap. Because it's coming down by a 10th. Every so often, a 10th here, a 10th there. And then Nibbler returns to favour. So I think the Ferraris are going to go 1 and 2 to the end. I don't expect anyone to do anything exciting. However, I'm not sure. I really don't know. But at Ferrari, it looks like they're just playing it safe rather than exciting. No one's jumping on the pit wall. So I think Ferrari could finish this race 1 and 2, but Nibbler's got about a lap left in those mediums, and I think they will be off the cliff. Anel got to lap 19. Even so, that's only 5 more laps. And then they're oh, wow, late dive bomb from Testermeister up the inside of Lord Jod UK. Doesn't pull it off, though. We'll get the better run out of turn 2, up into the run into turn 3. Will he look to the inside or the outside? He's very close to the rear end of the Mercedes. Down the inside goes the Renault. Lord Jod surprisingly has the better tyres at this phase in the race, but Tester really putting in a stint in the Renault, trying to show what potential he had with his pace today, and how it went oh so wrong. This is great news if you're Dougie Afro, man. This is holding up Lord Jod from chasing you down. So you're going to want to hope Testermeister can keep applying this pressure and keep battling, but never pass him, because then you've got to deal with Testermeister as well. So, now the interesting thing is, the most we've seen on the medium tyres today has been 19 laps from Anel Tanovic. Now that's in 5 laps time for Nibbler's tyres. That will bring us to what, about a lap to go? Yeah. Depending where he is on track, a lap / a lap and a half, maybe 2 laps. And if he gets to that stage, I think he'll be off the cliff. Cliff. But the only thing he's got to consider is that Chazza will be very close to his cliff as well, if not over it too. So he doesn't have to worry about Chazza. He has to worry about Ragnar. Now the question is, can Ragnar make up 23 seconds in 5 laps? He's going to need to be going a lot faster than he is doing if he's going to do it. We'll keep an eye on it, but I think it's game, set and match for Ferrari and Nibbler. So back to the racing at hand, Lord Jod UK. Chasing down Testermeister. Into turn 3 they come. And it's a great battle, and like I said, perfect news for Dougie Afro, man. Because Dougie's going to be on an optimal strategy to get to the end in P12. He'd hope that Ryan would be having a battle, which he is. And it's with his teammate, nonetheless. Up the inside goes the Red Bull. Job done for Ryan, up into P9. Kevin Jacobs just kind of driving by himself. The gap's not coming down, is it? Chaz has found 3 tenths, but that's it. I really thought we were in for a more exciting end to the race, but it looks like it's all been done and the bell has rung. But it's never over till the fat lady sings. So 5 laps to go. And Nibbler. The medium tyres are going to be super off the cliff. But the thing is, so is Chaz's softs. Oh, Lord Jod is attacking the Renault into the final corner. Up the inside he goes. Testermeister on the outside. Contact! Bit of front wing lost. Lord Jod goes wide, but a bit of front wing came off the Renault. Damage. Surely Lord Jod will recognise the Renault as damage, but the Renault doesn't care. He's going to go for it anyway. He'll suffer a lack of downforce through his first section of corners, though. Will that affect him in his battle against Lord Jod? Can Lord Jod use that to just drive around the outside of him? He's got less downforce, but he'll try make a bolt for it as he finally got the move done. I'm not sure. I think he has for now. These two had a monster of a ding-dong battle last time, and they're at it again. Anel Tanovic versus Nemesis Racing. Goes to the outside. Anel Tanovic gets the job done. But Nemesis Racing will get the DRS assistance, of course, and come right back at him. And it's Australia all over again. Oh, wow, look how late that was. That could have been an absolute airplane crash. These guys are leaving it till the very last inch. That was insanely close. Limited Danny gets another 5-second stop go penalty. Why is Limited Danny pitting again? That's a free stop for Danny. What a nightmare of a strategy. The desert lights have brought out the stress and the pressure of everybody. And what a race it's been. Lord Jordan Testameister still going at it down there. Ragnar's not gaining, is he? And neither is Chaza. Ragnar doesn't have the pace. And Lord Jordan gets a 5-second stop-go penalty for ignoring blue flags. Is that for Ragnar? It is. These guys are holding up Ragnar, and any chance he has to catch the Ferraris has gone. And the stewards have deemed that Lord George should be penalised for it. I'd imagine Testameister will be having a penalty come his way quite soon as well. There you go, he lets Ragnar go to avoid getting a second 5-second stop go. Testameister will get the blue flags next to us. So Lord George, it's not over for him yet. He just needs to stick with the Toro Rosso. And the Renault should just dive out of the way of the Toro Rosso, and he can hopefully follow the Red Bull sponsored Toro Rosso through. Just needs to stay patient and follow the Renault then, as Murcielago chases down his teammate one more time into the final corner. These guys are going to have a blue flag situation of their own regarding a Ferrari very soon. So DRS, overtake, Rich Revs, all going into turn 1. Not got the, and there you go. Multiple warnings, 3-second time penalty for Testameister. What that is a corner cutting penalty. Testameister has got a corner cutting penalty. 3 seconds versus Lord George. If Lord George wants this, he needs to pass Testameister and then gain a 2-second gap. But is that Lord George coming into the pits? With 4 laps to go? What is this? Wow, new soft tyres? Very interesting. I'm not sure what... I'm mystified. So we'll switch back to an Aneltanovic and Nemesis Racing battle. He's pitted and served his penalty, but he could have stayed. He could have stayed out, and I'm pretty sure it would have just added it to his race time. So he would have just got 5 seconds added to his race time. Aneltanovic getting very close to the back of Nemesis Racing. And he goes from bad to worse, from Lord to George. Poor guy. Wow, look how close this is to the inside of the pit wall. Great battle between Aneltanovic and Nemesis Racing. They're down into turn 1. Aneltanovic has got squeezed up against the pit wall, but got the job done regardless. It's been a nightmare for Lord George. He picked up a 5-second stop-go penalty for crossing the pit exit line. But Nemesis Racing and Aneltanovic still going at it, just like they did in Australia. Is this going to be a season-long thing between these two? I sure hope so, because these battles are phenomenal when these guys get going at it. Dougie Aframan is 1 point away, well, 1 position away from the points, but he's got 14 seconds to gain. Just notice he's past Limited Danny on this lap as well. The McLaren is still trying to find a way past, and what a job Nemesis Racing is doing. He's on such older, such harder tyres than the McLaren, but he's putting up one hell of a fight. The reigning NORL Project Cars 2 IndyCar champion, and of course the Project Cars 2 GT3 champion, not GT3 champion, sorry, GT3 race winner from last Wednesday on Bathurst. So really doing a good job, bringing some of that experience from other categories to help him out in this battle against Aneltanovic. But he does make a mistake there, and that's going to allow Tanovic to get a bit of a run. He's got all the slipstream in the world, but he's not using it to the best of his ability. He now just needs to focus on getting a good exit out of the final corner. Nemesis Racing loses a bit of traction out of the final corner once again, and now the McLaren is going to open his rear wing and bolt down into turn 1, and he'll take the outside line and get the job done. Now he's going to try to defend from any kind of comeback from Nemesis Racing, but not if he goes that deep. That invites Nemesis Racing to come back at him, and Nemesis Racing gets the better run, but nowhere to go. It goes all the way up on the curb. Yikes, that was almost Nico Rosberg and Fernando Alonso. That was insane. Woo, that was crazy. That was almost... He pushed me off the track. I think you have to leave a space. I don't know, Tanovic gets the job done despite going wide into the first sector. Now this is bringing Galactic Skull 2 into the fight, of course. If these two keep at it, Galactic Skull 2 will be on them in no time. Of course, this is a learning curve for some of these drivers. Speaking of learning curve, the man with the most experience on the grid makes a mistake and loses a position to Galactic Skull 2, loses P6 to the Sauber. But will now try get past Galactic Skull 2's tyres are 2 laps longer. This is the very last lap of the race. Nibbler is coming around the second sector. We've got a little bit of time yet to watch Galactic Skull 2 make a big mistake. These guys will have another lap. These guys will have another lap. It's the leaders on the last lap, not these guys. This is where Nibbler is for the final lap of the race. Just look around and see where everyone is. 6/10 of a second separates Murcielago and Kevin Jacobs, and that's pretty much your closest gap. We're going to go back to Nibbler, though, because around the final he comes, and for the second week in a row, it's been a dominant performance for Nibbler. 3-3-1 from Australia. He wins the Bahrain Grand Prix, and it's another Ferrari 1-2. They made such a wild tyre strategy, but their pace was just so much more than the other. Their pace was just so much higher than the rest of the cars that no matter what strategy they did, they were guaranteed the 1-2. Some say it might be controversial, but is this an AI driving for Murcielago? It's across the line, everyone comes now. Dougie Afferman doesn't get the points in the end after those accidents. Galactic Skull 2 does lose P7 after that mistake to Nemesis Racing. But it's the second Ferrari 1-2. A story of what could have been for Lord Jord. Yeah, that is very much the case. And Nibbler and Chazza dominate yet another race weekend, and well, it makes you wonder, doesn't it? It might be a red season in the NORL League. Is that Dougie Afferman pulling over with no front wheel? There's Dougie Afferman pulling over with no front wheel on the cooldown lap. Not sure how that's happened, but he is still classified. So Dougie Afferman does finish 11th, of course. Just doesn't make it back to the pits. Interesting. Very interesting racing. Here's your podium then. Like I say, it's another dominant display for Ferrari. 1-2 once again. These guys are just so much faster than the rest of the field. And that shows if you can win the race on 21 lap-year-old mediums when everyone else was struggling to get them past 15 laps, then yeah, these guys are on a whole nother level right now. And there was no competition for the red today. Ragnar tried, but didn't have the pace when it mattered. And ultimately, that's why he didn't challenge. So there you go, Nibbler wins from Chazza. And we can look at some of the penalties coming up on the board now. Murcielago had a 5-second penalty. Dougie Afferman couldn't get within 5 seconds to take that away from him. Limited Danny has 12 seconds of penalties. It's a very interesting race. Overall, ladies and gentlemen, you can just see Ragnar had the pace with a 1:30.4, but he didn't have it when it mattered, and that was the biggest thing here today. You can see they were 30 seconds ahead of the nearest car, so great effort by Ferrari again. It's another dominant performance from Nibbler, and I'm sure it will be a similar story next time out, unless someone can find a groove and find some speed. So thank you ever so much for watching, and ladies and gentlemen, and until next time out in, I believe we'll be going to China for the next race. I'll see you then. And if you're around on Wednesday, we'll see you for round number 2 of the NORL FIA GT3 series. Thank you ever so much for watching, and until next time, goodbye.